The Tale of the Paper Men and the Stolen Souls, Nanjing, 1876. Runtime, approximately 5 minutes. 0 o'clock to 0:15. Intro. The shadow of the dragon throne visual starts on a close shot of a weathered, cracked Qing Dynasty coin or a heavy, ancient inkstone, ominous. Deep Chinese instrumentation begins, like a funeral dirge. Narrator VO, deep, somber, like an ancient chronicler. Here now the woeful account of the year 1876, the second year of the reign of the Guangxu Emperor. The celestial dragon throne did shake not from cannon fire, but from the wicked winds of sorcery that blew across the great heartland of China. 0:15 to 0:45. The age of fear, the land is weary. Visual pan over an old print of a crowded, anxious city street. Then, a slow fade to an illustration of a flooded river or a broken embankment. Narrator VO. The Middle Kingdom was then beset by sorrow. The mighty Qing dynasty was grievously weakened by rebellion and ravaged by foreigners. The common people, having naught but their toil and their family honor, walked in constant fear. The soil was bitter, the belly was empty, and the spirit was weary. When the earth is sick, the devils walk. 0:45 to 1:30. The unholy art Keohun and the Q visual focus on the Q, the long braid as a symbol of honor and vulnerability, a subtle, dark animation of a single strand of hair floating away. Narrator VO. The terror began with a whisper in the tea houses and marketplaces of Nanjing, the southern capital. It was the word of Keohun, the stealing of the soul. The sorcerers, it was said, possessed the unholy knowledge to detach a man's Hun spirit from his body, condemning him to lingering sickness and a sudden, cold death. Narrator VO. The key to this wicked deed was the Q. That braid, given at the emperor's command, was the very tether to a man's vitality. If a snippet of the hair could be taken, or the Q merely touched with a sinister charm, the soul was snared, and the victim was but a husk. 1:30 to 2:30. The Little Demon's Rise of the Paper Men visual, dramatic close-up on a small, crude paper figure. Then, a sequence where a paper cutout, perhaps floating, seems to interact with the sleeping figure's hair. Narrator VO. But the most bizarre and fearful agent of this malice was the paper man. Not a ghost of flesh and blood, but a small, stiff figure, cut from paper, brought to unholy life by dark incantations. Narrator VO. These were the little demons, commanded by the sorcerer to slip through walls and windows, to work their wicked scissors, to gather the vital hair, and to carry the stolen soul back to their master. The sight of any piece of paper blowing in the wind, any unexplained rustle in the night, became a sign of impending doom. The madness spread across Jiangnan like a plague. 2:30 to 3:45. The judgment of the Mobi outsiders accused visual, images showing a group of townspeople surrounding a distressed traveler or monk, a sudden, tense shot of a court official slamming his gavel. Narrator VO. When men lose their reason, they seek a target. The populace, consumed by this mass hysteria, turned their wrath upon the marginalized, the itinerant Buddhist monks, whose shaved heads defied the Q, the poor beggars, who possessed nothing to lose, and the wandering masons and craftsmen, who were ever strangers. Narrator VO. These unfortunates were seized, bound, and delivered to the magistrates. Though the learned officials doubted the existence of paper men, they dared not deny the terror of the people, nor the rising unrest. They used the dread instruments of torture, the leg presses, and the whips to extract confessions. Thus, were innocent men compelled to admit to fantastical crimes, and many perished, their blood staining the floors of the Yamen. 3:45 to 4:40. A plot of the court fear and control visual, a transition to a formal, political portrait of a king official, emphasizing cold ambition. The music becomes more complex, reflecting political maneuvering. Narrator VO. But in the imperial court, the terror of the commoner was made a tool of the powerful. The Manchu rulers saw in the sorcery scare not just black magic, but a whisper of sedition. If a man's identity, his very soul, could be taken with such ease, then how could the emperor maintain his mandate of heaven? Narrator VO. The chase for the paper men became a brutal political campaign. The emperor's decree came down, demanding that the officials cease their sluggish ways and root out the master sorcerers, the unseen counter-elite who plotted against the state. The panic, initially born of superstition, was now fueled by the cold iron of imperial law. For 40 to 5 o'clock, the lesson of the tale, the lingering shadow. Visual, the camera slowly pulls back, leaving the city in shadow. A lingering shot of an old Chinese newspaper that reported the scare. Narrator VO, the scare did finally pass, dying out as the hysteria exhausted itself and the officials found no master cabal to prosecute. But remember this tale, it is a testament to the frailty of man and the ease with which fear can destroy more surely than any sword. Guard well your spirit, for when the world trembles, there is always one who will blame the stolen souls and the little demons of paper. End card. Simple title card and closing music.